Keldrick Falk, representing Auburn at SEC Media Days, sends a huge message for the program.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Happy Charlie Tuesday to all who celebrate. We're joined by Auburn message board legend Charlie 5, also the host of the Top Button podcast. We know who will be representing Auburn at SEC Media Days. Keldric Faulk, Payton Thorne, Eugene Assante. We'll discuss all three of them. But Keldric Falk, the biggest surprise of the three. I thought Peyton and Eugene were locks. I guess who that third player was a bunch of different times. I never said Keldric Falk. I never thought that he was going to be considered, but the fact that he was, Charlie 5, an underclassman, a true sophomore for the first time ever representing Auburn. This can only mean one thing: is Hugh Freeze and this coaching staff think he is ahead of his time as a true sophomore, and he's ready to take that step like a former five-star should in his second year.
Absolutely. It either means that or Hugh loves Auburn podcasts and knows that we needed the content to talk about, and we're going to put Keldrick Falk out there to talk about. No, seriously, there's only three sophomores going to SEC Media Days. I think it's Jackson Arnold from Oklahoma, and then there's a linebacker from Texas A&M. His name escapes me, but both of those true freshmen last year. Both had big years. That right there is significant. I mean,
sure,
16 schools times three. I don't want to do the math, but only three out of all those players are sophomores, and Keldrick Falk's one of them. He's one of Hugh's first big wins in recruiting, one of his first big gets. He had a good year last year. He's taken over a leadership role, and I think it sends a message. I think it sends this message to the team in general is like, hey, we don't play seniority. You know, you can be a leader at any age. You can be a leader in any class. And I think this is big. And hey, if you want to take the best looking one and put them off the bus at SEC Media Days, when you got 6'4", 6'5", 280, 290, chiseled up, I think that's a pretty good one to send up there to talk to the crowd, talk to the media.
I said this earlier in the year, Charlie 5, because I'm concerned about Auburn's pass rush, and I can't wait to talk to Keldrick about it. I can't wait. But I made the claim you could make the case that Keldrick Falk is the most important player on Auburn's roster because he has to take that next step. We're all assuming, okay, Jalen McLeod, okay, that's going to work because Keldrick's on the other side. You bring in Kieron Crawford, that's going to be fine because when he's in, either Keldrick or McLeod are going to be on the other side. Keldrick's a big deal. If this Auburn defense is going to work like we think that it can under DJ Durkin in his first year as defensive coordinator, you need Keldrick Falk to be significantly better than he was a year ago. And he was fine. He was fine. He was really solid as a freshman. But you've got to see those guys take a big step forward between your first year and your second year, or then the chatter starts running. The people start saying the B word, the bust word. And
right.
I think Hugh Freeze taking Keldrick is him saying, like, this guy's not a bust. This guy's the real deal, and he's about to be one of the faces in the SEC.
Yeah, you got to have somebody be that disruptor like Marcus Harris was last year, the guy that just blows plays up. He may not necessarily make all the tackles, but a guy that just blows it up. And yeah, he has the power, he has the speed, the physicality, the body, everything to be that guy and be able to be a pass rusher because of the position that he's going to play. So I'm with you. If Falk is who we think he's going to be, and this may be a signifier that at least the staff believes that he could be that guy, then this defensive front, in my opinion, seeing him goes out makes me feel even better about the potential of this defensive front. If he can stay healthy and he can do what we think he can, the coaches clearly believe in him, and they're looking at him to say, this is the guy we want you to be like. This is the guy we want you to emulate. This is the guy that we think is a spokesman for our team. We want you to be like him. And he's only been here one season. I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, I do too. I love that you mentioned he was kind of one of the first big wins, Connor Lew was in that group. Obviously, Keldrick K and Lee was in that group. We've heard so many great things about a lot of these young guys, but it's Keldrick. Keldrick's the one. It's not Connor Lew. It's not K and Lee that's going. It's Keldrick.
Right.
And I can't wait to see, I guess, how the rest of the SEC media treats it. He's going to be asked about his new defensive coordinator. He's going to be asked about rushing the passer. He's going to be asked about being one of the youngest guy to represent Auburn in SEC media days. I mean, Hugh Freeze knew that these would be the storylines and would make Keldrick Falk kind of have the potential to be larger than he already is. I think he understands like what's, I don't want to say at stake because it's still media days. It's not like this actually a game, but I do think it opens up a little bit of pressure. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say.
No, not at all. And you know what? That could be by design. That could be by design as well. That, hey, I think you're the guy.
We need you.
I think you're the guy, and this is how bad we need you, and how much we think you could be the dude that changes the complexion of this defense for 2024. I'm so confident in it. I want to put the monkey on your back. I want to put the pressure on you to get out there and make it happen. So we're going to take you to SEC Media Days and let you be the face of the program. I think that could be a part of it too.
Yeah. Do you think there's anything from upperclassmen that maybe wanted to represent Auburn and go that have been here for a long time, and they say, you're taking a true sophomore, not a guy who's been here for forever? Do you think there's any of that?
It would be impossible not to. I think about a guy like Jason Jones, who I was kind of shocked that I would have, if I had to pick somebody to be he would have been on every list that I made.
Yeah. So I would have said the same last year too with Jason.
Yes. So that is something. You think about the composition though of the defensive line. Really, both lines. Well, we have a lot of guys that just haven't been here a long time. Like there's a lot of guys that just don't have a lot of tenure. Keldrick's actually one of them, but he came in at Auburn as a freshman. So I don't know that the whole aspect of it is the whole aspect of the roster in general is kind of weird. But yeah, I would have probably picked 3 or 4 dudes above him. So I can imagine there could be some feelings there. And, this could be sending a shot at some of the older guys and saying, look, you want to, I'm riding with Keldrick right now. He's the hot hand. If you want to get on the field, if you want to play, I have no problem playing younger guys. So you better step up and get after it. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you can look at it, but regardless, it's very significant.
I think so. And you just look at this group versus last year's group. And I know Freeze brought in Elijah McAllister last year, but the other guys, Cam Stutz and Luke Deal, like they were already on the roster. They've been on the roster for a long time. This group, and I know he didn't bring in Eugene Assante, but it kind of feels like he did because Harsin put him on scout team and all that. Right. Which is crazy to think about. But this feels like Hugh Freeze's group. Not guys that were already here when Hugh Freeze got here. These are Hugh Freeze's guys. And I think that's going to be kind of fun to see. That's going to be a storyline going into Thursday before Auburn speaks for sure. Totally.
I think that's probably a big theme there.
Yep. No question. All right. Yeah. So Keldrick going to the SEC Media Days. It's huge. It's huge. And it really sends a message. Payton Thorne, is he about to be a face of the SEC? And did Hugh Freeze kind of have to bring him? That's coming up in just a moment, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Charlie 5, can you imagine? Can you imagine buying tickets anywhere other than our friends, the free Game Time app? No.
I can't and I won't. I won't do it.
Yep. Nope. Won't do it. I actually used the app yesterday, Charlie 5.
What
bought
ticket?
Concert tickets in Atlanta. We're seeing some violinists because we're 60 years old. We're 60 years old, my wife and I. Going on a Monday night. That's how crazy we are.
Wow.
That's how crazy we are.
Turn up.
Yeah, you type in the artist in the city that you want to go to. It says, hey, here are the tour dates that make sense for you. You click on it, and then I saw those lightning bolts next to these lower numbered price tickets. I clicked on it. I saw the view of my seat. I'm like, this looks great.
Probably the front row.
Fantastic. And Yeah, keep watching, folks. Appreciate that. No. We're in row M, I think.
Okay.
So
Okay.
There we go. But yeah, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. When you look at Payton Thorne going to SEC Media Days, I think he had to take Payton Thorne. I think the storyline circulating around the offense and around the locker room and around the program, if you don't take Payton Thorne, I think it opens up a lot of stuff that you do not want if you're Hugh Freeze. So to me, I don't know if it means anything other than I think he had to take him. I think Payton is really good in front of the media. I think he's going to say all the right things. I think he's going to be probably fairly boring because he says all the right things. But that's what you want. If you're Hugh Freeze, that's what you want, and you want your quarterback in front of the media. I think it makes sense, but Hugh Freeze had to take him.
Yeah. Hugh's probably said, I believe in him 1,000 times since the end of the season, all the way up to now. To say I believe in him and your quarterback in general is supposed to be sort of the face of the program, and to say I'm not going to spend $1 million on a transfer quarterback. I can win with Payton Thorne. I believe in him. I have faith in him. If you say all that and then you don't take him to media days, I'm with you. I think it's
bad.
It would be a bad look. I think it would say, I don't know. I don't think it would not speak very highly, I think, of your quarterback. Look at all the dudes that went. There's a ton of quarterbacks that are going. So I think
if you know who your starting quarterback is, especially if they're a returner. But I mean, you mentioned Jackson Arnold earlier. It's like not technically a returner, but we all know he's going to start. And you don't take them. I think it sends a message, whether it's intended or not. I just don't think it looks good. So Hugh did the right thing. Yeah. Did the right thing by taking Payton. I don't think it means anything one way or the other.
But I may disagree that there just a little bit. I don't think he only took him because he had to take him. I think he truly believes in him. I think he truly believes that the situation that he put Payton in last year was untenable. It was no way to succeed. And I think he probably feels a little bit responsible for that, and he knows what he can do. You've seen what he can do, and feels good about if he's locked in with me, we can make this thing work. So I think there is an aspect of had to, but I think there's another aspect of that where he just truly believes he's the best guy for the job. He's the best face, best leader at that position, so I think there's maybe like a two-headed, double-edged sword there. I think both things can be true.
What kind of questions do you think Thorne's going to be asked? Because I think from Auburn folks, the Auburn folks there, and I assume we'll get time to sit down with them, is, hey, tell me about Cam Coleman. Hey, you got any Perry Thompson stories yet? Just with y'all throwing the ball around the yard. How's Rivaldo look? I think a lot of the questions he's going to get from Auburn media that's there isn't going to be about him. You may get a few of the cliche things like, is the offense feeling better? Man, you've got a good offensive line in front of you. Maybe some Percy Lewis questions. But what kind of questions do you think folks outside of Auburn that aren't as familiar or care about some of these newcomers? Is he going to be asked any kind of pressure questions?
I would think so. I mean, I think he would be, at least someone's going to ask him, hey, what makes us think, or what makes the public or people think that, seeing Payton Thorne after last year's stats can be something different, something better, something like that. Like, what's changed in you from last year to this year? What do you think about where you rank, in the SEC quarterback rankings, or what's the biggest difference? If with Hugh calling the plays, how do you feel like the offense fits you better, or it is going to make you play significantly better, be more accurate, things like that. I think there could be some pretty tough questions because, quite frankly, the stat line from last year, regardless of how you believe it got there, was rough, and it's hard. It's really hard to defend. So I can imagine if there's some dudes that want to, there's some pretty good ammo to really put him on the spot. So I don't know. I don't know there's going to be. I know there could be some softball Auburn type stuff. Talking about, like you said, Cam Coleman, Perry Thompson. What's it going to be like to throw to those guys? Keandre Lambert-Smith versus last year, the easy stuff. But then, hey, tell us what happened last year, and why should we expect that anything's going to be different? Like I could see.
We've already asked him that though. Like he's already told us that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so to me, it's like I care more about what he says about the guys he's throwing to at this point. Like we know what went wrong last year. It was extremely unorganized. Phillip Montgomery failed the offense. He failed Payton Thorne. He failed this whole entire roster and fan base. And so Hugh Freeze reacted, said, you can't do this anymore. I'm going to bring in the guy, Russ and Derek Nix, and I'm going to take over the offense. Like we know that. But,
we do.
But the SEC media doesn't. And so we get to tell.
Yeah.
Is that going to help?
Tell that story again. I don't know.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, because Peyton's not going to be as blunt about it as we are, even though like I don't think he like hid anything when he talked about it in the spring about we're a lot more organized, communication's a lot better, everything seems to flow a lot better. We know the context, folks outside won't. So I am curious to see what that's going to look like, and I'm sure like the Ole Miss folks will ask about Derek Nix and things like that, but I don't know.
That's a good point too.
I think I think Peyton, I don't know, when you go to SEC Media Days, the media does view you different because they actually talk to you one-on-one. And so that helps you with certain like voting situations. Like I don't think Peyton's going to be in any preseason, all SEC teams or anything like that, but it does help you with like the natural favor that you gain from, conference-wide media. I think we've seen that in the past with folks like Luke Deal getting votes and Cam Stutz getting votes preseason from folks at SEC Media Days last year. Like that would have happened if they weren't brought there, So I am curious to see if it changes the perspective of Payton Thorne at all. Because outside of Auburn, even within Auburn, depending on who you ask, like it's kind of all over the place.
Right. And so, sometimes maybe even within like, the team circles and things like that. Some people that, really think highly of him. And then some people that, whatever may think opposite. I don't know. It just, he's got a lot to prove. I think sending him out shows that Hugh believes in him and he wants him to be the face of the offense. And really, I mean, your quarterback's the face of your team. So I don't know. He had to, but I also think he believes in it.
Yeah. The quarterback should be the face of your team. I think the reality is Eugene Assante is most likely going to be the face of this team. And we will hear from him next week in Dallas. That's coming up right here on Locked On Auburn. Charlie 5 typing up a storm and Eugene Assante screaming, "Let's work" to media in Dallas, I think may cause a storm because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. This was the most obvious choice in my mind. Auburn taking Eugene Assante. They've already done so much on social media for their branding to make Eugene Assante the face of the program right now. I think he matches, from an energy standpoint, what Auburn fans want. I think he's a really solid player. It's a fun story of it where it would have made sense for him to transfer and he didn't. And now he's been he's earned this starting role and he's been one of the more pleasant surprises of this defense since Freeze has been here. I don't really know what to expect. I think he's going to get asked a lot of questions about DJ Durkin, which could be controversial depending on if somebody wants to try to bait him into that, which I hope no media member does that. That's not on any of the players that are at Auburn, but it still might happen. You never know.
Oh, it's going to happen from at least one if he's there. So
no question. No question.
No
question. That's why I mentioned it. And so hopefully that doesn't happen, but we'll see. But outside of that, like I think Eugene Assante is going to be as like straight laced as possible. It's going to be super. You're going to get super energetic answers. You're going to get honest answers.
Lots of sound bites.
Probably. If somebody says something a little edgy, you got to think it's going to come from him.
No doubt. And I think it possibly could be a nod to Charlie 5. You throw out the top button guy, a noted top buttoner going to SEC Media Days. Eugene Assante likes to finish the job, and he buttons it all the way up to the top. That was very well documented last year, and I don't know. I think it might be there could be a connection there.
Do you think he would be going to media days if he did not button his top button on his shirts?
I wonder if it could really hurt his chances. I wonder if it could really make it to where, like, if it was a tie, like, oh, we're not really sure. Do we take this guy or this guy? Well, Eugene buttons his top button. That guy gets the job done. He finishes the drill.
Yeah, he didn't just do enough, because just buttoning one or two, leaving that top one unbuttoned, like, you've done enough.
No,
but you can always do more.
He said, always do more. He said, there's a button on this shirt, and dadgummit, I'm going to button it. I'm going to finish the drill. And that's a sign of a leader. That is a sign of leadership. It's a sign of style and class. And hey, that's who you want to be, your face of your program. I think it helps.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think makes him more upset? Seeing a button not buttoned, or a quarterback breaking contain?
If he sees if a play breaks down, okay, and he's got a beeline to the quarterback and he sees a floppy collar over there on the sideline, I'm not sure which direction he's going to go. He could go make the play, or he could go, give somebody the business. I mean, you can't have floppy, open neck collars just hanging around all over the place. You got to button it up. So, yeah. I mean, there's a passion there, and I appreciate it. I get it.
I mean, imagine seeing the front of somebody's neck and Eugene Assante's around.
He despises Adam's apples. Absolutely despises them. He says, you cover that thing up. I'm tired of seeing it. And I get it. I am too. I despise them.
I think Eugene Assante has a chance to be one of the more beloved Auburn players in recent memory, because, and I think him going and representing the school is going to be really cool.
I think he has a chance to be one of the more beloved, maybe SEC players, because of how honest and how fun and the energy that he has in press conferences and the quotes and things like that he plays with on social media. And he's really big into the team social media account. He seems like he's always the middle of that. And then you go to SEC media days and you kind of put that on display. I think he'll probably have some memorable lines, and then he's definitely going to have some memorable plays this year that I think people are going to be able to tie together. I think he'll be a very memorable Auburn player, but I think he has an opportunity to be a very memorable SEC player, and this is a really good platform for him to be able to do that.
I also think it's good that he's going to be representing Auburn at media days, because, like I was saying a second ago with Thorne, I think it applies more to Asante, where he may not, and probably shouldn't be voted first team SEC by the media, but I bet he makes it in those first three teams because he's going to be so likable, and people are going to look at him and be like, oh yeah, he is pretty good. I think politically he may get a little bit of a bump by SEC media that's there. And so he may get a little bit more preseason love because of this, which I'm 100% here for.
I think he deserves all of it. I think he deserves all of it. He was one of the brightest shining stars of that team last year. And I want him to get all the recognition that he deserves. I think he really lit that defense on fire when he kind of came into his own. And now we get a full season of it where he's the guy, the face, SEC media days, your leader, expectations. He's going to get a full season of it. And I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think he would be as deserving if he didn't button those top buttons?
I knew it was coming. I knew that question was coming. I don't think he would be the man he is if he didn't. He'd be a completely different character. Probably a little boring, probably not very entertaining, maybe still a good football player, but that could have been the missing piece to complete his game, was that last button. Just finish the drill, that last button, and it's changed.
Incredible metaphor there. No question about it. All right. How can people check out everything you've got going on?
You can find me on Twitter at @the_Charlie_5 or the Top Button Podcast every single day, where we talk about top buttons.
Let's go. The video. Please subscribe. We'll see you later. Jason Jones will join us for a little happy hour later this afternoon. So be sure you're subscribed to the show. We'll see you then. This has been Locked On Auburn.